Hey, what's going on, everybody? Navid is here. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur and creator of Virtual Summit Mastery, and we help people just like you exponentially grow your email list, influence, and revenue. And for this session, we are going to talk about something I haven't really have too much personal experience with, and that's how you can generate 10K leads a day on Google Ad Display Network, and all that kind of goes into that. And I have actually probably one of the foremost experts in the entire world on this topic. His name is Justin Brooke, and we connected a while back. Actually, I've known about him for a long time, but Alejandro Reyes, one of my VSM students, he mentioned him in a comment, and then I decided to have him on board for this session. He's the founder of Ad Skills, and he's been managing a lot of stuff around different ad networks and stuff like that. And PS, obviously, also I've interviewed his partner John as well on YouTube ads and everything that goes in there. So definitely check out that session as well. But for this one, we're gonna dive into the Google Ad Display Network, and it's gonna be, I'm sure I'm gonna learn a ton here as everyone watching here as well. So with that being said, warm welcome, Justin.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit how you got into this. Obviously, it's a very unique skill set you have, and also your partner. So I'm just I don't have a ton of experience on it. Obviously, I see the benefit of doing this because obviously everyone, doing Facebook ads and stuff like that, which you guys also do over at Ad Skills. You have training on it and stuff like that. But for this session, we're going to talk about something completely different. And I'm sure everyone watching, they don't have a ton of experience. So where did you start and get into this? And then we can get into some specific strategies of where people can start with this.
Yeah, so I got started in 2007, so that kind of makes me a grandpa in internet terms. That's over a decade ago. And the way that I got started is through an internship with a multimillionaire. Most people know ClickFunnels today. I knew him as just Russell Brunson and .com Secrets back then, but I interned with Russell, and my job as an intern for him was to study this giant library of courses, books, seminar recordings. It was over $250,000 worth of just the best marketing education in the world from the top guys, Tony Robbins, Joe Polish, Chet Holmes, all the guys you see. You just walk down Barnes and Noble in the book category, in the business book category, all those guys. And mastermind recordings, seminar recordings, really high level stuff. And so I got the education of a lifetime as an intern. My job as an intern was to go through that material and then write up affiliate review articles for each one of the courses, seminar recordings, and stuff like that, so he can make his money back off of all the stuff that he bought. And so, through that, job as an intern, I got this massive education in marketing, but it was an unpaid internship. And so I had to then take that education and do something with it. So when I got back home, this was in Idaho, by the way, and I live in Florida. So it was quite a thing to leave my girlfriend, who's now my wife, leave her back behind with my mother-in-law. She was living with my mother-in-law when I went out to Idaho for 30 days and did this internship. I get home, and one of the courses that really stuck out in my mind during my internship was this one on Google Ads. And Google Ads was brand new. I believe it started in like 2004, 2005, and we're talking about early 2007. So super early days. In fact, what I'm going to be talking about today, Google Display Network, actually started out back then as they called it site targeting. And so we'll talk about that some more. But anyways, I took this education, this course, and I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, I want to do this stuff. And she's like, that's great, but we have no money. So how are we going to run ads? And so I came up with the idea that we would pay half the electric bill, take a risky move, pay half the electric bill, and I took $60 and I put it on this pathetic $2 a day Google ad campaign, and I made double my money back that month. So I made $150. I was selling a little $35 video tutorial thing, on a software. Everybody's familiar with WordPress today. There's a software called Joomla, and I was selling a little pack of tutorials on Joomla for $35. I made $150 that first month, paid my electric bill, and then put the money back in and did it over and over again, doubled my money every month for 11 months, and I had a six-figure business. So
Yeah.
literally turned $60 into six figures. And and it
Yeah.
was traffic that
That's
changed my life. And
yeah.
so that's why I've been like a traffic guy ever since.
Man, that's so awesome. That's a great story. Like, I mean, obviously most people know Russell. So that's interesting. That was like way before the ClickFunnels days. You got your start. That's like, yeah, that's very very long time ago. Obviously, I got started way later, kind of 2013 or so. So you had already been doing this for a few years. But let's get into a little bit how you. I mean, obviously you back then you were doing it on the Google Ad Display Network already, right? So what would you say from then to now? What are you doing differently? Anything that has changed? And we can get into some benefits and stuff like that, why people should even care about this. But can you tell me a little bit about kind of what you were doing back then and what you're doing differently now with this platform? Obviously it has evolved a lot with Google and everything they are doing since then as well.
Yeah. So back then, it was called site targeting, and it was really just it was marketed in a way of like, hey, if a website has AdSense on it, you can pay to be one of the AdSense ads on that website. And so it was a very crude version of what is available today, and all I could afford was one ad. At $2 a day, you can't do too much. Even if you have multiple ads, it's just not going to serve them because you don't have enough money to buy the impressions. And so it was literally one ad in one placement. And they say in poker, all you need is a chip and a chair. I mean, that's all you need in this paid traffic game. If you got a spot to advertise and you got an ad, that's you're ready to play ball. You just have to do the research to know which ad and which spot is going to make you back the money. And so that's really what's different between today and back then. Is back then it was just it was only text ads. There wasn't image ads and stuff. And so today I'm running a lot more ads. There's a lot more targeting available. There's AI today. I mean, today is way better than when I started. And I don't think you'd be able to start at $2 a day anymore because click prices have gone up over the years.
Yeah.
Just everywhere, click prices have gone up, but you could definitely start for $10 a day.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we'll get into some of that, but let's get to kind of why people should care about this, and especially like for list building, and obviously not only list building, but kind of building, acquiring buyers. That's kind of otherwise it doesn't make sense to spend on advertising. So you should not. I mean, that's what I tell people. You should not see it really as a cost. It's more as an investment because you're making the money back very quickly. So can you talk about some high level benefits, and then we can give maybe some results and stuff like that you have gotten for different clients and people like that.
Yeah. So one of the things I love about Google Display Network is you can target buyers. You can't really do that in Facebook. They've taken away a lot of partner categories and a lot of targeting. They're trying to do less and less targeting. But inside of Google, you can target what's called in-market audiences. And what in-market means is because Google has Chrome and Android and Google Home and Wi-Fi, they know everything. They got Google Analytics on everybody's website, so they know where people are going and traveling. And so if somebody is visiting 7 different auto dealership websites in a month, they know that person is probably in market to buy a car. They know that if somebody, recently, one of my new hobbies is toy photography. I know, weird, different topic. But anyways, now all of a sudden I'm browsing all kinds of websites about 1/6 scale props. And so because of the behavior I have on the web, Google can identify me as someone who is in the market for something. So there's a lot of audiences that you can target in Google Display that are buyer audiences.
Yeah, that's awesome actually that you can do that, and then basically you get displayed in different websites around the web because there's different types of ads, maybe you can make some distinctions as well so people get that right away, because there's
Sure.
obviously the searches. When you search for a keyword in Google, I mean, that's kind of just showing up there, and you see, if it's a good keyword, sometimes people are obviously, like email marketing, you see a lot of searches for that and paid searches, and then you see kind of the organic searches as well. So can you get into different kinds, obviously the display networks, and then what other ads people are usually using, and what you are doing as well?
Absolutely. So Google actually consists of three different things. They've renamed it a couple of different times, and they've never really found good names for it. But YouTube is actually Google Ads. There are so the first type that most people know of Google Ads is search ads. When you type in a keyword into Google and you see some ads at the top, you see some ads on the right hand side. I don't think they're on the right hand side anymore. But you see some ads on the top, you see some ads on the bottom. Those are search ads. That's not what I'm talking about right now. Those are great. I've done a lot of them. But what I'm talking about is Google display ads. And Google display ads are all those banners you see all over the web. Now, there's a funny story about my uncle one time when I told him I was going to go give a speech and teach people about banner ads. He's like, "Oh, man, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Why are you sorry?" And he was like, "Nobody clicks those banner ads, man." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. 99.5% of people don't click them, but that 0.5% is enough to make $1 million off of."
Yeah,
So,
man, that's incredible actually. I mean, that's a great way to put it as well. So yeah, just wanted to make that distinction so everyone's clear. I think most people would be, but that's obviously great also, the Google searches, but for here we're going to talk about other things. So why should people, is that what you recommend people kind of start with if they're good that, okay, I'm going to do Google Ads? Is that the display network that's the best way to get started, or what would you recommend even the first steps to take if you want to kind of, okay, I have, let's walk people through what do they need in place to even do this?
okay. So when it comes to, we're going to talk about list building. We're going to talk about really advanced, massive list building too, if we have time. But if somebody's just starting out with paid traffic, I would suggest a branded search. Is this what you meant?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, go on. That's interesting to me
Okay.
for sure.
So branded search means just buying ads on the keywords like your name. Okay, so for me, I would buy the keywords Justin Brooke, ad skills, bulletproof YouTube ads, my community name, Pro League. So I would buy the branded keywords, and people often say, well, why would I do that if I rank for those things? Well, you're not going to pay any money if nobody is clicking on them. So if they're clicking on your SEO versions, then you're not paying any money. So it's free. But I like to control what is showing up. And so most of you've probably been in a Target or a Walmart or some store and looked up reviews of a product while you were in the store. Well, the same thing happens online. Before somebody buys from you, they'll often Google your product name to see any kind of reviews, coupon codes, anything at all. And so when that search happens, or let's say they saw something you were posting on social media, and they only saw it because one of their friends was commenting, or they saw one of your YouTube videos, but they were watching the rest of their watch later list, and so they didn't remember exactly to click on the link, but they remembered the product name, and so they Google it. So that's why you want to start with a branded search campaign, because it helps capture any of that traffic you might have lost. So if somebody's starting from $0 spent, never running an ad before, I would start with Google search just on your branded products. And because they're your product names, there's not going to be a lot of competition. So it's not going to cost you a lot of money. And if you can't convert if you can't convert somebody who's searching for your product name, then it's not the paid ads that's a problem. You got some other
Right.
bigger problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's very high buyer intent. So when people search for virtual summit mastery, in my case, I mean, we obviously rank for this, but like the more, if you can like take over that first, I mean, completely, I mean, so nothing else comes up there, that's pretty beneficial, right? So is that kind of, where do you go and set these up? Justin,
You
also,
can
yeah,
control
go
the
ahead.
headline. You can control the landing page. You just have a
Yeah.
whole lot more control than you do with SEO.
Awesome. Yeah. So where do you go and set these kind of ads up, and like where should people go and do that?
You know, I just Google ads. You know, I think it's adwords.google.com. I don't know. You know, I've had it in my browser
Do they
bookmarks for so
say
long. I don't even.
you probably have it saved somewhere, but like, do people go basically just to they have like something that's called that branded search, or do you have to just set up a regular ad for it, or what is it called?
It's called a search campaign, and so
Search
there are
campaign.
two different types of campaigns you can do inside of there. It's a
Okay.
search campaign or a display campaign.
All right.
What we'll be
Cool.
talking about later is display. What I'm talking about right now is search. And when you
Okay.
start a
Perfect.
search campaign, it's going to ask you to create a campaign name. I usually do whatever the website name is,
Yeah.
and then it's going to ask you for an ad group, and that's just a group of keywords. You know, it's a box within the campaign that it contains your keywords,
Sure.
your ads, and your landing page. And so you're only going to put a
Okay.
couple keywords in there. You know,
All right.
just your name, your product names. Maybe if you have a community name, you put that in there. Put a link to the website you want to send them to, and then you make your little text
Do
ad.
you have to set up a budget there as well, or is it only per click and you Google basically adjust that? How does that work? I mean, I've experimented a little bit, but not too much with this.
Yeah, so you're going to set a daily budget, and you're going to set a per click
Yeah.
bid. And so, you know, my default bid is $1. It's not going to cost you $1, but that's just what I've been using for years and years. I just put $1 in there, and then as things go, you can kind of determine whether you need to bring it down lower, you need to raise it up, but $1 should be
Okay.
fine for this case. And then, you know, what you should set the daily budget. I recommend people $10 a day. You can go down to $5 a day if you really want. Really kind of, you know, that's determined by your wallet, whatever you're going to be comfortable
Yeah,
with.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And yes, I wanted to ask, so this was the branded search. Do you do anything around kind of specific keywords in your industry as well? But obviously that can be more expensive. Do you ever do that as well before we're gonna get into the display as well? But do you do that also in the search?
You know, I've done a lot of that. I really like to target the longer things instead of, you know, like I'm going to use my market, you know, paid traffic
Yeah.
advertising I would never try to bid on the word advertising
Yeah.
or digital marketing or, you know, anything big and broad like that. But I might use something very, very narrow with very high buyer intent, something like native ads course
Hmm.
or Instagram ads course, you know, something
Yeah.
very, very targeted like that. Because I don't, you know, when it comes to search traffic, you don't want a lot of clicks. You want a lot of
Yeah.
customers, you
That's
know.
so
So
important. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I love
you
that.
know,
That's
yeah,
it. Yeah, I
you
wanted to share what I thought of this. This could work really well for kind of affiliate marketing. If I mean, if or your own products, obviously. But let's say you have a review on something. I have a lot of reviews on my site for different, tools and other courses. I can like during a launch or if it's evergreen or something, I can just kind of rank. That's pretty easy to rank for. I mean, or it just come up off top. Maybe my organic shows up first, but then I can also take off over the paid spot, and then it doesn't cost me too much. But it's very high buyer intent. Is that something you have seen working pretty well? Because most people are doing Facebook ads for these things, but imagine taking over with the Google ads. That could be pretty powerful. I've seen some people do this as well, like Matt Wolf and some other people have done this for some tools, and they have done pretty well with it. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen that.
absolutely, man. In fact, a buddy of mine who created the As Seen on TV network, the
Yeah.
story behind As Seen on TV. Now, I think Kevin from Shark Tank. I think he owns it. He bought it off of my friend. But the story behind As Seen on TV is exactly what you're talking about. And so he built an ad agency many years ago where people who were advertising on TV, he would just buy Google ads for those product names, you know, like Snuggie and Dual Saw and all these things that you see, Mighty Putty. You know, he would buy Google ads for these products. They were spending millions of dollars on TV ads. He would spend thousands of dollars on Google ads, catching all this traffic, being an affiliate for them. And he built $150 million company doing just that.
Incredible.
private
That's
jet, all that stuff. And now you see as seen on TV everywhere, right? It's like
yeah,
a whole aisle
yeah,
inside of Walmart, you know, and that's
yeah.
how it started.
Wow. I mean, so it's so much potential. I mean, this hopefully if you're watching this, you can get some ideas. And obviously, we talked so far the branded search important. That's kind of a low barrier to entry. You can probably you won't pay too much. Then obviously any kind of other things, for if you're doing a launch for something, obviously you can show up for your stuff, a review for something, or even ranking for the tool. I mean that is pretty simple actually in most cases, unless it's a lot of competition for it. But let's go from there. So let's say you have done the branded search at least. What's kind of the next thing you would focus on, Justin?
The next thing I would focus on is retargeting, which I think a lot of people are probably familiar with at this point. They know about putting the Facebook pixel on their pages, and they know about custom audiences. Most people I find know about these things, but
Yeah.
that's the next thing that I would do is retargeting, because again, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take advantage of the traffic. I don't mean in a negative way taking advantage of the traffic, but I mean leveraging the traffic that you have. You want to try and recycle it and recapture it.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're out there doing all your social media and your blogging and your YouTubing and everything that everybody's doing today, you're generating clicks, and you want to try and squeeze the most value out of those clicks. And so you start with branded search, just in case anybody's searching for you, and then you do retargeting. That way you can kind of follow up with people, because a lot of people think that when somebody leaves your shopping cart without buying, that person didn't want to buy or didn't like your product. That's not the case at all. Maybe they didn't have their wallet on them. Maybe they were upstairs and their wallet was downstairs, and so they went downstairs, and then their wife had something for them to do, and they just kind of forgot, and they have to come back to it. Well, that's where retargeting on Facebook or anywhere else kind of helps remind that person of the product that they were just about to buy. So I would start, the number two thing I would do is retargeting, and then from there, it's time to start doing some display ads.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean that's awesome actually. So you're doing let's kind of do a specific example. Let's say I'm doing a summit, and obviously we have a lot of traffic, let's say from partners. Maybe we are doing some Facebook ads as well and stuff like that, and from my own list, driving people to a registration page. People are opting in. So if they leave the registration page, would you retarget those people to get them to opt in? And then obviously vice versa. If they opt in and then they don't buy, would you retarget there? So can you walk us through, kind of how that would work?
Exactly. You can use retargeting to kind of gently push people along your funnel, and
Yeah.
so somebody comes to your page, doesn't opt in, then all of a sudden they're seeing retargeting ads, maybe for the same thing or maybe for a different lead magnet that you have. Maybe they didn't want the virtual summit on list building, but they wanted the virtual summit on writing your own book or Shopify store, whatever other lead magnets or registrations or webinars that you have, kind of show them a different offer. They might be interested in that.
Yeah.
And so then once they've opted in, now they have to kind of become a front end buyer. So you show them ads for that. And then after they become a front end buyer, maybe you have an upsell, maybe you have a back end, maybe you have a mastermind. You can kind of, move people through your funnel with the retargeting ads.
Yeah, and for this you also set a daily budget, right? So let's say you only have $10. Is that $10 to $20 a day? Is that enough for, doing this successfully, at least to getting some ROI from this type of thing?
So whenever I've run these campaigns, now, I mean, I can't guarantee anybody anything. It depends on your sales funnel and all these other things.
Yeah.
However, in the 12 years that I've been doing this, the average ROI from retargeting across every market, every client, all my own stuff, all my friends, it's always been about 200 to 300%. So generally, you're doubling and tripling any dollars that you're putting into retargeting. And I'll tell you a couple of tricks to make sure that happens. If you remind me about retargeting tricks. So the ROI has been great, and you can start for $10 a day. The great thing about retargeting is it's as big as it can't grow beyond you, because these people had to already have come to your website. So what happens is somebody visits your website, and then there's the technology is a pixel, it kind of tags them and puts them in what's called a pixel pool, a pool of people that have been tagged by your pixel. And so your ads are only going to this pool of people. So if you have a small budget, chances are you probably have a small pixel pool. So you're not going to spend a lot of money. And then as you get better, your pixel pool is going to grow. And so your ad spend will grow a little bit. And you get better and better, and so it will never outgrow you. It will be just as big as you are at all times. And that's the great thing about retargeting.
Awesome. And before we get into the retargeting tips or tricks, I definitely want to hear that. Like, that sounds very similar to kind of how Facebook is working in a way. It's do you see it's better ROI typically? I mean, I know you're doing kind of both, but obviously you're mostly focusing on this. But like, where's the biggest ROI? Usually these days, at least for what you see across clients and yourself.
The biggest ROI, it really changes, different people. Sometimes it work better, but the best, is to be retargeting in multiple places.
Yeah.
And so where I find a lot of people going wrong, the common thing today, in fact, when I just mentioned the word retargeting, most people think Facebook ads. Yeah. But retargeting was around before, and so retargeting, when I say retargeting, I mean using the pixels from all the ad networks. You got Google. When I say Google, I mean Google Display. So all the websites out in the world. And then you've got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Yahoo. There's places all over the web that your visitors are going. Your website's not the only thing in the world that they think about. They're all over the place. So you want to put these retargeting pixels on your website and retarget them everywhere. And what happens is you end up looking way more successful than you are, which creates a weird psychological effect in the customers because they want to buy off of successful people. They trust more successful companies. And so because all of a sudden you're everywhere, they're like, wow, their product must be good if they can serve ads everywhere. And really, it's just this small pixel pool that you have.
I love this. This is actually, I mean, I guess that's also what makes you guys over at AdSkills unique. You actually do this across different platforms, right? And that's kind of what you focus on: YouTube ads, Google ads, Facebook, Twitter, and all the different Instagram, all the different platforms, right? That's kind of, that's how you, as you said, you can be seen everywhere. And then in your, potential customer eyes, they're gonna see, wow, this Navid guy, he's everywhere now, and we want to buy his virtual summit mastery course or sign up for his summit or whatever it is, right? So that's interesting. So let's talk about some tricks. You said you had some tricks up your sleeve, so I would definitely want to hear those retargeting tricks from
I'm gonna get a little nerdy on you guys here, but bear with me. This is very tolerable. You can hire people in Fiverr, pretty much anywhere that you would hire a freelancer. You can hire somebody that knows how to do what I'm saying. Okay. So there's a free tool called Google Tag Manager. Some of you may be familiar with it. Some of you maybe not. All it is a little, it's a code that holds your code. So it's like a box to put your boxes in. Okay. It's like a code locker. All right. And so the pixels from all these different ad networks, instead of you putting all those different codes on your website, you can put it in this little code locker called Google Tag Manager. And now you're only putting one code on your page instead of a lot of codes, and then you can and then you have controls inside of Google Tag Manager. Well, one of those controls allows you to delay the retargeting pixel by however many seconds you want. Why would you do this? Well, you would do this because everybody has a bounce rate. I don't care how good you are. Even some of the best pages have a 60% bounce rate. And that means that 60% of the traffic was never interested in the first place. They just left right away. They looked at the headline and a couple images and they're like, no, this wasn't what I was looking for. The problem is most people are retargeting. If you're dropping your retargeting pixel the moment somebody gets there, that means you're retargeting and you're paying for that 60% of people that were never interested in the first place. So 60% of your ad budget is completely wasted. Wow. If you delay that pixel using Google Tag Manager by 30 seconds, I like to do 45. I'm a little safer. I'm a little more conservative than most people. If you want to be aggressive, go to like 15 seconds. I go to 45 seconds. I want to make sure all the people that are not interested are gone. and I just target the people that have stayed on my page longer than 45 seconds, it maximizes every dollar that I spend. It helps me optimize better because now I'm only retargeting people who are really interested in what I had.
Wow, that's a really good tip. I haven't really heard too many people talk about it. I think you might be the first one, at least I heard, that mentioned that you should delay this, which is really interesting. So, do you have anything else to share around that? Otherwise, I'm definitely interested to hear more about the Google Ad Display Network and kind of how that fits in together with what we have just talked about.
Yeah, and just to give credit where credit's due, I learned that trick off of my friend. I actually read his book first, and I've now become friends with him. His name is Mike Rhodes. He wrote the book on Google Ads, literally at Barnes and Noble. Mike Rhodes, Google AdWords. He wrote the book on it. So I learned that trick from him, but it's a great trick. And so now going on to the next step, Google Display.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. So the way that the whole system works is everything kind of builds on each other and kind of creates a snowball effect. And you can start very small, what you're comfortable with, and this grows with you. So the next step, after you've done your branded search and you've set up your retargeting, now you need to kind of reach out to the cold audience. You need to reach out to the people who don't know who you are, the new eyeballs, so that they can start to learn to like you, to know you, like you, trust you. Okay. And so what I'll do is I'll use Google Display Network and I'll advertise a blog post. Like I have a blog post called 10 books marketing pros read that newbies don't. And so if you're a new marketer, you're going to be like, what are the 10 books? I want to know what the 10 books are that pros are reading and I'm not. And so people go to the blog post and they read and they're like, oh yeah, this is great information. What company is this? Oh, this is Ad Skills. Okay. And then they leave, and that's okay. So I'm just trying to start a relationship. I'm just trying to get a little bit of awareness. And I know sometimes that can be a dirty word when we talk about paid traffic and ROI and direct response, but you can't get a sale until you have awareness. You got to have awareness first. If you don't have awareness, nobody knows who the heck you are. So you got to establish awareness first. And that's what these ad campaigns do. And they can actually be very cheap because you're not advertising a product. You're not trying to get someone to buy something. You're advertising something very sexy, like 10 best books about marketing or 10 ads that made millions, something very clicky. And so your cost per click will actually be way less because so many more people are clicking. And that's just kind of how the auction system works. So you're getting people to your website, maybe even they're opting in. So when I do the 10 books thing, when they go to that blog post, a little welcome mat drops down, and there's also an offer at the bottom that says, hey, when I was writing this list of 10 books, I actually wrote a list of 50. If you give me your email address, I'll send you a PDF of all 50. Really high opt-in rate because it's very relevant. So I'm going out
content, right? So basically having like a content upgrade or something that is relevant to that epic blog post or ultimate guide or something like that. We have a ton of, I can see this right now, you mentioning this. I mean, I can see how this could work pretty well for us because we have a lot of really high quality content, right? With specific lead magnets, inside of some of our content, and just kind of, we'll definitely convert some of those people into, leads as well into our email list. So that's awesome. So yeah, continue on this. This is great.
Yeah. So you're going out and you're putting some value, money follows value. If you're putting some value out in the marketplace to brand new people who never knew about you before, they come to your blog post. Maybe they opt in, maybe they don't, maybe they leave. It's okay. But now here's what happens. After they leave, they see your retargeting ads everywhere.
Yeah.
So here's this company that they just randomly stumbled on, and now all of a sudden they're everywhere. And they're like, wow, I just heard about this product yesterday, and now I'm seeing their ads all over the place. Man, this company, I should check them out. Click, and now they're back, and now they're going to your sales page, and then maybe they don't buy yet, but they go and do some Google reviews. But guess what? Your branded search campaigns are there waiting for them when they do the Google search reviews. And that's how this whole system kind of works.
Man, I love this. This actually brings it together very nicely. So this is great. So basically, I mean, would you say that after they go to your blog post, would you retarget right away for kind of a lead magnet if they leave? Let's say they come to their blog, they don't opt in. Would you retarget like an opt in, or what have you seen kind of work the best there?
So there's a lot of different things you can do with retargeting. I literally have a whole book called Retargeting Recipes, just a
Yeah,
bunch
we
of
can.
different things. My
Yep.
favorite, recipe is I call it the overnight celebrity. And what the overnight celebrity is you make all your retargeting ads testimonials. And so I'm not, here's the thing. I'm not telling anybody to make up any fake testimonials, any, fake endorsements. I'm talking about real stuff. If you've been selling your product for a while, you got a couple endorsements, you have a couple testimonials, turn those into image ads and put those up as your retargeting. So here's what happens now. You go out to the new market, they read your blog post, they kind of see your company name, but they leave. And then now they're on Facebook or they're on YouTube or Twitter, Instagram, wherever they're at, they start seeing testimonials about you. They're like, I just sold that product the other day. And now I'm seeing everybody on the internet's talking good about this product. Sale, 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 sale.
Yeah, I mean that's so awesome actually. And what's in terms of the images? I mean, I see these images, right? So is there any recipe for doing successful images that people actually click on? I'm sure that also plays a role, at least to some extent, right? People have left your site and then you do retargeting, right? So what goes into that?
Well, for that, you'd have to come to my 10 ads that made millions blog post. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a
I'm sure we
very,
can
very
link some
simple,
resources
don't
up.
really overthink it too much. You just want to do, it's a 300 by 250 pixels, 300 wide by 250 tall. I think that's what
Yeah.
it is. They call it a mid rectangle size. There's a lot of different sizes that you can create. You can look them up. Just look up, IAB, that's International Advertising Bureau, IAB banner sizes, and you'll find tons of blog posts that tell you all the different ones across. I've literally spent tens of millions of dollars on these ads, and these 300 by 250s, they're always the winner. So, I always start there. And then once I have a winner, then I'll go and I'll have my designer go and make a full suite of different sizes. But I always start at the 300 by 250s. And as for how do you make them, if you're doing a testimonial, put the person's face over on the left. You got maybe their testimonial on the right, and then a little click here to learn more button. Don't get fancy with them. You don't want ads that look like ads. You want them to almost look homemade, but I don't want them to look ugly either. But you're not looking for like real fancy stuff with little twinkle shines and gradients. You're not looking for that Disney ad type of
Sure,
stuff.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I wanted to get to, kind of add to as we're wrapping up a little bit, I wanted to get to also how do you scale up from there? Obviously, the 10K a day, obviously, that's probably out of reach for most people. I mean, depends the market, I guess, as well. So, can you get into that a little bit? I mean, is that even realistic to aim towards, or is that in specific markets? What can people kind of watching? I mean, if they start out at $10 to $20 a day, can they get to that stage, or does it depend? Can you talk to that a little bit?
Everybody can get to the stage. It's really just simple math, and I use the big numbers because it attracts a crowd. People have never heard of that size. Uh, but it really comes down to your market. So if you are only selling real estate in Kalamazoo, Michigan, then you're probably not going to be able to have 10,000 leads a day. I mean, you'd have the whole city as your leads within a week or something like that. So it really depends on the size of the market. In this campaign, I actually did 17,000 leads a day. I peaked at 17,000 and it was averaging like 10 to 14,000. It was in a very broad, it was in the political space. So huge market. And so we were able to do more leads, but it scales to whatever market size you have. And it really just comes down to a very simple math formula, which is CPL greater than EPL. And what that stands for is cost per lead greater than earnings per lead. And so if I'm trying to scale up, let's say I'm running this blog post out there, and let's say I spend 1,000, just to use simple math, let's say I spend $1,000 and I get 500 people to opt in on my content upgrade. That's $2 per lead. Cost me, you split up the averages, cost me $2 per lead. So now in my email sequence, my sales funnel, my email sequence, all that other stuff that we do, I just got to make sure I'm making more than $2 per lead. And if I am, then I can scale that up as much as I want. But there's a trick. There's a way. There's an even easier way. So the even easier way is to find just one partner in your market who's willing to share the cost with you. So let's say I do my campaign and I realize that my cost is $2, or maybe it's $3, maybe it's $8. I don't know what your cost is going to be. Yours is going to depend on your ability to convert people and your market size, and it's going to depend on a lot of different things. But whatever your cost is, let's say the cost is $10 per lead, okay, which would be pretty on the high side for most people. If your lead cost is $10, you find one partner in your market who also needs these leads, and you say, hey, listen, why don't we share these leads? I got this campaign that's generating leads. Why don't we share them? We both win. You pay $5, I pay $5. Bam, you just dropped your cost per lead in half, and now it's so much easier to make the money. And so in some markets where like my cost per lead is only $3, I'll find an exclusive partner and I'll have them pay $3. And so now I'm making, I'm breaking even immediately on the leads. So my leads are free at that point, because if they're costing me $3 and I'm selling them to my partner for $3, it's basically free leads for me. And so now every dollar I make off of my back end sales is just, free profit for me. And that's how you scale up into 10,000 plus leads a day.
That's very interesting. So would you do, it's kind of just thinking about this, like with GDPR and everything, that's an exclusive partnership, right? That's how you make this work. So you can kind of share it. So you make it clear when they're opting in that they're also basically a shared list, basically. Is that kind of how you guys are doing it? So it makes it clear to everyone?
It's not illegal. You do have to disclose the fact that you're doing it. It would be illegal if you said we're not sharing the leads and then you share the leads.
Or just not mentioning it, right? Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So in your terms and services, which everybody should have at the bottom of their webpage, you would, or in your privacy policy, you would disclose the fact that you have exclusive partners who have relevant, valuable offers, and you share the leads with them. Completely legal. Well, it depends on what country. I don't know all the laws of all the countries, but in the United States, it's completely legal to do as long as you're disclosing it and you're not, if you start sharing that lead with, dozens, hundreds of people, now you're starting to get into gray area. But if you're sharing it with one exclusive partner, you're both offering real value, you're looking out for the customer's best interests, you should be fine.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you have any, like, as you're wrapping this up, do you have any final words of wisdom for anyone kind of getting started with Google Ads and the Google Ad Display Network and kind of, gonna succeed with this, starting out? And we shared some bunch of tips here, but anything you would like to share that we maybe haven't touched upon too much, or anything to leave people with here?
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. And I think this is the best way to kind of leave this. Would you, and I'm talking to you, would you like to make $1 million with Google Display Ads? Honest question.
Yes. It would be nice, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Who would say no to that?
I'm sure everyone would like to say heck yes, right, in the comments here as well.
Right. So that's what we want to do. Now I got to ask you, would you be willing to invest $1,000 to make that $1 million?
Yeah, I mean, that's also a heck yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That should be a no-brainer yes, answer as well. And so, that's just what it takes, and everybody's so scared, but you got to put in some money. You got to have that first month is going to be a little ugly because you're figuring it out. It's just like, right now my daughter's learning how to rollerblade and she's fallen on her bum a couple of times. The same thing happened to my son when he was trying to learn how to skateboard. You can't learn without falling a little bit. And so you can really control how much damage the falling does. With rollerblades and stuff, you can wear a helmet and knee pads and all that. Well, with online ads, you can limit your daily budget. Limit it to something that you're really comfortable with. If you have $1,000 budget, if that's all you have to spend, don't put all $1,000 in there and pull the slot machine and say, "Oh, I hope it works." Don't do that. Okay. Instead, if you have $1,000, put 200 in and learn from that first 200, and then put another 200 in after you've learned. And now you have 5 bullets in the chamber instead of 1. You have 5 chances of pulling that arm instead of 1, and you're much higher likelihood of winning if you kind of split up your budget like that. That will protect you from the downside. The other thing is there are automation rules. One other little nerdy advanced trick. There are automation rules in almost all of these ad networks where you can automatically stop campaigns that are costing you too much money. Just like in the stock market where you have stop loss, like if you buy a stock at $70 and you set a stop loss of 50, so that way you can't lose more than that $20 gap. Well, you can do the same thing in ad networks, but in ad networks, it's an automation rule instead of a stop loss. And so if I need my leads to cost $3 or $10, I will set up an automation rule that says if this ad has more than 10,000 impressions and the cost per lead or cost per conversion is above, let's say maybe $15, $12, then just turn it off. And so that makes sure that you're never overspending too much. You're never like just bleeding in your campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such great advice. You gotta learn first, right? You're gonna be willing to invest to learn a little bit, and then obviously you can scale as you go here. But this has been awesome, Justin. Where can people connect more with you and what you guys are doing? Anywhere you want to send people to check you out?
I got a lot of great videos on YouTube, both under my own name, my own channel, Justin Brooke, and then also through our company. We have a company channel, Ad Skills. So if you look up those in YouTube, you'll find a bunch of our content, and then you will be retargeted. And we have branded search campaigns, so we're doing exactly what we teach. But if you really want to just jump into our courses and stuff like that, just head over to adskills.com, and you can find out about everything that we're doing.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this, you enjoyed it, leave your biggest takeaway below as well. Maybe this is new to you. Leave what you learned here from Justin, and maybe anything you're going to implement right away. Obviously, we showed you kind of some basic things you can get started with branded search, and then kind of taking it to the next level as well as you're scaling things. But just leave it below. Let me know if you enjoyed this one, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.